Recording in progress.
Yes, team, welcome to today's training. So, as always, these trainings are kind of flowing in and out of each other now. So I can see there's a really good amount of people who have watched Mondays, which was great, which was on values being the very first stage of being the leader of your own life. So again, as I said, leadership, we often always talk about leaders are leaders of football teams, leaders of nations, leaders of generally other people. But each and every part of leadership first stems from that ability to lead yourself. And as we said, the number one pillar of leadership is ultimately your values. And if you can master your values, you'll master your life. So if you haven't yet done all the work from Monday's training, go back and make sure you're finding your values, choosing your values, making sure your values represent who you want to be as a leader, who you want to be as a parent, who you want to be as a business owner, who you want to be generally in life. Define your values, make sure they align, and then make sure you have the integrity and the discipline to live your values. You can't say you're a person who values health, fitness, mindset, positivity, and all of those things, and not be doing any personal development, going to the gym, tracking your food, and then as a result, drinking alcohol and having negative, habits at the weekend, because your actions aren't aligning with your set values. And if that's happening, you'll always have chaos in your head, because you're saying, this is who I am, this is what I want, this is what I believe in, this is what I want to move towards. But then if your actions aren't aligning with that, and very often they're the opposite, that's why your head's going to feel chaotic. So define your values, make sure your values are you and authentic, and then make sure you have the integrity and the honesty to live them. So if the first pillar of self-leadership is values, and we've done that task, the second pillar of leadership, and probably I think I'm now starting to understand the most important thing in the world to live in a fun, a happy, or fulfilling life, is our ability to master relationships. Because if you actually think about it, every single interaction with another human in your life today falls into the category of a relationship. Not just your significant other, could be your kids, could be your ex, could be your significant other, could be your boss, could be your clients, could be your employees, could be the person who works behind the counter in Asda, the person who works behind the counter in the sunbed shop. It could literally be anyone. It could be your boss, okay? Every single person you interact with is a relationship in some format. They're absolutely everywhere. You can't get away from them, and you certainly won't be able to live your life without mastering relationships. Certainly not with the current social world and the way it is. You can't just go and hike and live on a mountain on your own and not have to deal with people. You will ultimately have to deal with people all day, every day. And mastering relationships, and certainly your communication with other people and how you handle it, from communicating with me, as I said, to your significant other, to your boss, to your employees, to your kids, and everywhere in between, is probably the most critical step, I would believe, to living a happy life. If not, you're never going to have those relationships, you're never going to have the interaction, and everything will just stay within until you drive yourself crazy. So, having said that, can you take a guess, and I'll give the prize for the first person that comments, when we're working on developing these winning values that we discussed on Monday as a leader from the last training, based on everything I've just said there, what do you believe is the first relationship that you truly need to master to be able to live a happy and fulfilling life? I'm guessing you should get it. Pete's got it straight away. the relationship you need, and Kerry, the relationship you need to master is the relationship with yourself. Before you even think about anything else or anyone in the world, you must master the relationship you have with yourself. If you have a terrible relationship with yourself, you are up shit creek without a paddle, or foobard, as they called it in the army. So this goes above everything else, and it's why your values are so important, because this is the reality, right? This is the unfortunate thing that I want you to understand. If your self-talk was monitored and reviewed on a daily basis, and you were a little bit like Jim Carrey in Liar Liar, that's literally one of my favourite ever films, with the boardroom, from the boardroom scene to when he farts in the lift, to when the woman with big tits is saying that everyone's been really nice to me since I started working here, and he just says, yeah, that's because you've got massive jugs, and everything in between. You know, if that was our life, but that our self-talk was like that, so everything that we said internally about ourselves had to fly out of our mouth, just like Jim Carrey and Liar Liar, and we couldn't tell lies. How do you think it would sound, honestly? Like, I think most people, including your friends, would probably be outraged, disgusted, and surprised, as you would be, at literally how badly you treat yourself, how badly you talk about yourself, how badly you beat yourself up. And, you know, this is, you know, something I went through with Nikki, didn't I? When I always laughed about it, because she used to say, Lee, I need this, you know, this is going back 2 years now, and I still haven't handled this. So I'm not perfect, and nor should anyone ever try to be. It's the biggest form of fear and procrastination, is having to be perfect. But she used to say to me, Lee, I want you to go to the Love Gym. You know, I want you to, for 5 minutes every morning, I want you to go to the Love Gym. And the Love Gym, that's nothing sexual, by the way. It's looking in the mirror and saying, do you know what? I love you. You're incredible. You've overcome so much. I appreciate your values. I respect you. You're enough. You're amazing. Look at all these incredible things you've done. Look at what you've overcome. Look at who you're helping. Look at the impact you're having. But we don't do that. Like, who actually, like, has anyone actually done that recently? Actually just sat down and done that, either internally or actually looking in the mirror? No, me neither. I haven't done it for a long time. And people are right, because it's the same thing that Kieran said to me when I was going through the whole TMP mental performance journey. You know, when you can just learn to be yourself, Lee, when you can just learn to be authentic, when you can stop trying to be someone else to get love, to get validation, to get success, to get attention, and you can just be yourself, you'll attract all the love and significance and success you've ever truly desired. Not the cars, not the houses, not the body, not the money, not the success, just being yourself. And I also think if you told people that you did that, imagine having like a conversation at work today, right? What did you do this morning? Well, I got up and I was in the Love Gym at 6 a.m. this morning. What do you mean? Well, I was stood, you know, naked in front of the mirror, and I was appreciating all my flaws, all my wobbly bits, you know, everything. And I was just loving myself and telling myself how special I am and how far I've come. You know, people would be like, what the fuck? This guy's like proper crazy. But when you speak to them and you beat yourself up about, you know, you don't like your nose, or you don't like your boobs, or you don't like your bum, or you don't like your teeth, or you don't have enough money, or you always fail, or you're fit, or you're weak, or you, whatever the stories you keep telling yourself about who you are and why you don't like yourself, no one would bat an eyelid. In fact, they'd probably say, yeah, do you want to go for a walk and put the world to rights? Yeah, I'm same. Yeah, I'm the same. And, let's just all go for a walk and talk about how worthless we are and how tough life is and how this is the new norm and how nothing's ever going to be. That's just normalized, right? But like loving yourself and going to the love gym, people would think you're a freak. But I urge you to do it, no matter where you are on your journey. Like, love every part of your body, love every part of yourself. Because if you can't do that, and I'm not there yet, trust me, and it takes time, but no one will ever really truly be able to love you until you can love yourself, because that comes down to what you're projecting. If you're saying I have no value, I'm low self-worth, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I always fuck up, I'm overweight, I don't like my bum, I don't like my nose, all these things, that's what you're projecting, and that's what will be returned from other people. So we have to first, and it's not about an egotistical self-love. It's about an egotistical self-love is like, I don't know, getting your body out on Instagram every day, which again, if you do that and it makes you feel great, that's okay. I've done it lots. There's nothing wrong with doing something that makes you feel good, but that real love comes not from other people saying, wow, you look amazing, wow, you're doing great. That comes from feeling that yourself and not needing it from anyone else. And until you can have that love for yourself, what I'm learning more and more is that it will be very difficult for anyone else to ever love you when you don't love yourself. Because what you say about yourself to yourself every day and in every interaction is 1,000 times more important than what anyone else does. And like I said, we're normally saying, I'm too fat, I can't stop drinking, I'm a binge eater, I'm too short, I'm too bald, I'm not good looking, no one will ever love me, why do I always fuck up, I'm not clever. Like literally, like most people do that on a daily basis. Look in the mirror and hate themselves. Look in the mirror and just pull themselves down for everything they're doing wrong and all their imperfections and just huge self-criticism about why they're fucked up, why they are, where they look, and all of this on a daily basis. And this has to stop. Like, please, for me, if you're doing this on a daily basis, please just stop. Because nobody will ever love you more than you're willing to love yourself. In the same sense, start backing yourself. Start being your own cheerleader. Start being your own best friend, because the other thing is, not only will nobody be able to love you more than you're willing to love yourself, you'll also never rise above your expectations of yourself. So if you keep believing you're not good enough, if you keep believing you're too short, you're too old, you're too fat, you're not clever enough, you're too damaged, then you'll never rise above that expectation and belief of yourself. So you have to change that. And this is what leaders do. And this is why this is about leadership. Leaders love themselves in a good internal way. They're comfortable with who they are. And this is the big kicker. Leaders have the ability to talk themselves into action because they believe they're good enough. They believe they can do it. They believe they're lovable. They believe they're respected. They believe they're worthy. And that's how they are able to talk themselves into taking action and becoming leaders and not procrastinating, becoming the leaders of their own life before they lead other people. But it all starts with your relationship with yourself. Love yourself, back yourself, trust yourself, respect yourself. If you're not respecting and valuing yourself, ask yourself why. What are the actions that you keep taking that are making you not like yourself? And maybe you need to look at changing them. But look after yourself. Protect your body. Your body is the most expensive thing in the world, and you got it for free. It's the most amazing thing in the world. If you knew the millions and millions of different things that happen at a cellular level every second within your body and your mind, you'd understand just how magnificent and special it is, and how it should be loved and respected and treated with value. You know, you wouldn't get a Ferrari and just start chucking fucking Greg's wrappers in it every day and smoking in it and pouring beer in it and not cleaning it and just treating it like an absolute fucking dustbin and calling it a piece of shit every time you get out and see it on the drive. And your body is a Ferrari. In fact, it's better than a Ferrari. And you only get one and it was free. So start treating it with the love and respect that it deserves, with the food, with the training, with the mindset, with who you're listening to, your inputs, what you're watching on TV, sleeping. And this one is really hard. But you have to get okay with enjoying your own company. You have to get okay with positive self-talk. You have to get okay with self-love. Because the diet that you need to be most concerned about is not the food that you're eating. It's not even the things that you're watching or the people that you're listening to. They are all really important. But the diet you need to be most concerned with is the thoughts that you're thinking and saying to yourself internally. Because what happens is most people are so desperate, and this was me for years, so desperate for love, so desperate for significance, so desperate for validation, so desperate to be accepted. Please love me. Please, if I do this, will you tell me that I'm good enough? Please, will you tell me that I'm doing okay? Please, 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 somebody tell me that I'm not a failure. That they're that desperate for it, as I was, that you will adapt and modify not just your behavior, but your values and who you are in accordance with what you think you need to do and who you need to be in order to get this love, this acceptance, this validation, and this significance that you so badly desire. When the reality is, what you need to understand is all those things that I've just mentioned, as long as you are needing to get them from other people, you'll always be fucked. And you can get all of them every day from within yourself for free. How good is that? I can get all the love I want every day from free, from inside me. I can get all the validation, significance, and attention I've ever wanted every day, all day, every long for free inside me. And guess what? I'm in control of that. So I'll feel strong and empowered. I'm not in control of whether other people love me or not, or think I'm good enough. But I'm in control of whether I did, I do, and I will. So these are the difference. Everything you keep wanting from other people, you can get from within. And that's what I want you to take home. And this is the difference between leaders and followers. I'm not talking about Instagram, by the way. Leaders act independently of the opinion of others. They don't ask, like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this, what do you think? They just do it if they believe in it. Hands up if you've done that. Every single thing that you think you want to do, whether it's signing up to a plan, starting a business, going to the gym, booking a holiday, down to fucking buying a new pair of fucking pants. You can't do it without asking someone else. Thinking about getting these, what do you reckon? Think I might join the gym, what do you think? I really want to start my own business, what do you think? And then they basically base that, like, it's ridiculous when you think about it. The amount, even in a paid level, in a coaching perspective, the amount of people taking business advice from people that haven't run successful businesses is crackers. The amount of people that are taking fucking health and fitness advice from fucking fat bastards who drink wine every week is fucking ridiculous. There's some PTs and online coaches that are an absolute fucking disgrace. But these people will get what they need from that. I will do this if you tell me it's a good idea. I will have this conversation if you back me. I will do this weight loss plan if you think it's a good idea and you're willing to do it with me. If not, then I'll retreat away because I'm addicted to whether you think it's a good idea or not. Drop me a yes if you've spent a lot of time doing that. Yeah, you almost need permission from every single person to be and do the thing that you want to do and be who you are, rather than just being. And that's the difference between leaders and followers. And it doesn't mean you have to be a twit about it. You know, you don't have to be an arsehole. It's not a like, I'm doing this, so fuck you attitude. It's like, I'm doing this and I'm okay with, as long as I'm okay with the thing that I'm doing and it's not something that's wrong, then I'm okay with it and I don't need your permission to do it. I think the reason why it gets misconstrued is when you say, when people like don't care about others' opinions, I think that gets misconstrued with actually normally, and very often it is true, that's people that are actually being arseholes. Like they're that egotistical, they're that on their own mission. This is the far end of it, that they're willing to do things that really, really hurt and upset other people because all they really care about is themselves. And I think that's where it gets misconstrued. You know, not caring what other people think doesn't mean you're being a twat and you're being nasty to them. It means you're just willing to live your life and your values on your terms without needing permission and other people to go with it. Does that make sense? I think that's why the two things get confused. Like being a leader and having your own opinion and not needing to care about what anybody else thinks about you is okay. But I think it gets confused as not being okay because it's very often, you know, who's ever heard that phrase? Oh God, Jesus Christ. He seriously doesn't give a fuck about anyone but himself. It's the same thing, but just make sure that actions and the values are aligned with doing something good, not doing something really bad. Like you could be like, oh, I just go and steal because I don't care what other people think. I just go and rob, rape, pillage, murder, whatever, because I don't care what other people think. You know, that high-end psychotic narcissistic level of it. You know, that's very different to just, you know, going for the job or wanting to lose the weight or starting the business or ending the relationship or any of those things, and being able to be, you know, as I said, independent of hurting the other person as long as you're not doing something wrong. So that then brings it into this next phase where really, and I think this is what so many of us struggle with. I struggle with this massively, and I still do now. You know, great leaders are willing to be unpopular if it's the right decision. Whether it's in sports, whether it's in business, you know, they don't need, if they know it's the right decision and it's backed by values and it's honest and it has integrity, they will not care if 20 people disagree and they don't want it to happen. Great version of this would be in companies, you know, or great football managers. They're willing to drop the fans' favourite and be completely unpopular with all the fans if they know that that decision is for the greater good of the team. You know, I would get rid of clients if I know it's for the greater good of the team. Irrespective, I've done it in the last year, haven't I? Irrespective of some people that weren't okay with that opinion. There's numerous people that have not been allowed in this plan or been kicked out of this plan and not allowed back that were popular. Like, it has to be for the greater good of the team, not about the person. So you have to sometimes, and it's hard because we all want to be loved, but sometimes you need to be willing to be hated in the moment, to be unpopular in the moment, as long as you know that the thing that you're doing that's making you get that reaction from other people is for long term and for the greater good. So a bit of short term hate and disruption and being unpopular for the greater good long term for everyone, it is a really important trait of leaders. Because if you want true success in business, in your life, in your relationship, in pursuit of living the purpose-led, fulfilling life that you want, and achieving your dreams, trust me, you're going to have to become okay with not being liked. And I don't think I've really ever mastered that, I'll be honest with you. And I don't think many people have, because we live in this kind of conformity. Oh, I don't want to do that because that's going to upset someone. Oh, you know, I really need to make this decision, but, you know, I don't because X, Y, and Z. But if you want that true progress in your own life, you're going to have to learn, as I will, to detach yourself from the opinions of others when you're making great decisions for your life, which you know are based on your values and long-term are for the greater good of others and yourself. Because if you don't, and you're bogged down on not being able to make those decisions that are important for your life because you're so attached and you need to be liked and you need everyone to be on your side and agree before you take the action, you'll always stay stuck. once you can detach yourself from the opinions of others or needing for them to agree with you in order for you to take the action about your life to move forwards, that will be a freeing experience like no other. And I'm slowly moving towards that and being able to practice doing it. It's still hard, it always will be. It's a tribe mentality. We want to be liked, we want to be loved, we want to be part of the team. And sometimes if you don't fall in line, then you get excluded, you get kept out in the dark. I experienced that in multiple lessons at school. you know, I experienced it in sports when I've been dropped from teams. It's a horrific feeling. It doesn't feel good. But what will feel even worse is never really being your true self or living your life or chasing that happiness and that fulfillment and that purpose because you couldn't detach yourself from not wanting to get that feeling that might happen as a result of you taking the action towards your life. Does that make sense? So we're moving towards wanting to. I think so few people can do this. And even though it's something that people will say a lot about me at the minute, Jan says it all the time, you're really authentic, and I wasn't for a long period. I know Pete's on now, and Pete will have seen the journey. There was a point when, I was working with Paul Moore and I was basically turning into Paul Moore. I was one step off of talking with a fucking Geordie accent. And me and Pete had a conversation and he says, I can say this to you because you're my mate. It's like what are you doing? It's like you're just trying to be Paul and it's not you, and the coaching's great, but the way you're delivering it, trying to be in line with him. And it was like a light bulb moment for me, and I was like, yeah, shit, he's right. And that's a great story really that's come about now, just in my head, it's not planned in my notes, even thinking about it, because Pete was willing to say that. Do you get what I mean? I could have gone, oh, no, fuck off, mate. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? I'm fucking Lee Freeman. He was willing to tell me that I was being a bit of a knob, as he's done many times in my life, and willing for probably me to be upset as a result of what he was telling me, because he knew it was for the greater good of me moving forward, which it has been. And now I do think when I come on these lives, I am, it took me a long time to get to grips with the ADHD thing and waffling off on these things, which I'm doing now, which is miles away from the notes that I'm talking about. But just realising that actually, when you are just being yourself and coaching, and you're not trying to be Paul Moore, you're not trying to be Phil Graham, you're not trying to be James Smith, you're actually having a bigger impact on people just by being yourself. So it's about being okay with being yourself. Walking your own walk and walking it authentically. But again, this is what I journaled. It's not about not caring what other people think. There is not apart from narcissists, fucking murderers and psychotic people and that end, I don't think there is a person on this earth that doesn't care what other people think. I care what every one of you think of me. I always will do. And I think we all always will do, care what our friends, family, peers think about us. And that's okay, because that can actually build into your values. But don't care that much that it stops you living the life that you want. Don't care about what other people think. And do nice things to be loved, validated, and made significant, but don't care that much that you don't take the action. Because, as I said, it's not about not caring, but it's more about your not allowing your actions to be controlled for fear of how other people may judge you. Because most of the time, they're not even judging you. Oh, God, I can't do that because, what might Ali think if I do that? Well, Ali's probably too busy typing on a computer and she actually doesn't give a fuck. That's my ego. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I think, or just the overall team. So I'm thinking about, making this decision about the business. But what might Ali think? What might Pete think? What might Carl, Kerry, Mark? They might not like it. And what if I do these changes? And what if I get rid of this? And what if I do all these things? All these things that deep down in my heart, I know will improve the business. but no, I can't do that because I might upset everyone. Don't do that. If you know the thing is right, feel the fear. Listen to, I wrote this down. I made this up and I think it's fucking great. Obviously, there's the book Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, right? Feel the fear of judgment and do it anyway. That's a great little insight that I wrote down. Feel the fear of judgment and do it anyway. Because the reality is, one, most people aren't even watching, judging or caring, and they really don't care about the thing that you're thinking about doing. And even if they do kick off and they don't like it, they'll probably have forgotten about it 5 minutes later and they'll be off judging the next person. So one, it's your ego thinking that people care, but it's also feel that, yes, people are going to judge me if I do this, but I know it's right, so I'm going to do it anyway. That's the difference. It's about ripping off the mask and being unapologetically you without fear of judgment. Again, that's another affirmation. Today, I'm going to take my mask off and I'm going to be unapologetically me without fear of judgment. Don't get that confused with being a twat. That's where I think it falls down with people, because most people who behave that way, unfortunately, very often are twats. So it's about just being okay with who you are. That doesn't mean, you have to start pulling people down and, being loud and egotistical and just that person that, the person that you generally look at and think, God, he really doesn't care what people think. And it's not about taking things the other way. So, you could go to the other end. Well, old Janet from up Gateford Road that goes to the shop every day in her dressing gown and her sliders to buy more beer and cigarettes and scratch cards at 3 o'clock in the fucking afternoon. Well, she really doesn't give a fuck what people think, does she? So again, can you see how confusing this is? Because there's so many different aspects to it. But it's about being authentically you, but still being a good person and doing the good things, not doing bad things because you don't care. Does that make sense? So moving on from that, what I really think it is, based on what I just said there, is, that person hasn't really done the values, have they? They value not getting out of bed. They value snoozing. They value alcohol, scratch cards and cigarettes. They value not having a career. They value making excuses. That's why it's different. That's why the first bit needs to be done first. So we need to develop what these values are. What are my values? What do I want to live by? What's my mission statement? What do I believe in? And then being able to be your authentic self with honesty and integrity to move towards them. As I said, ripping off the fear and being unapologetically you without fear of judgment. Not being a certain way to be loved. Hands up if you've been a certain way, dressed a certain way, acted a certain way, talked a certain way, behaved a certain way in order for someone to love you. Hundreds of times. In order to fit in, dressed a certain way to fit in, acted a certain way to fit in with the army, acted a certain way to fit in with the rugby team, acted a certain way to fit in at school, become the bully so we're not getting bullied. We all do it, but this is the turning point now to be able to not be a certain way to be loved and just be you, because you are driven by your values, not the agenda of others. So that's it. Get out today. Get out today and every other day. As Peter says, swing the fucking bat. Be you, do you, go for it. Whatever you've been holding back on, just go for it. Go, go, go. Move, move, move without fear of judgment. Because you're enough. You've always been enough. You're clever enough. You're tall enough. You're bald enough. Okay? Master yourself. Master your feelings about yourself. Master your self-talk. Master loving yourself. I could say another word after master there that would be really inappropriate, but I'm not. But that also means loving yourself, and I've done that just to make Pete laugh. So, when you can master your relationship with yourself, That's when you can master your relationship with others. Because it takes pure courage, right? It takes fucking courage to risk being unpopular. It takes courage to risk being excluded. It takes courage to go against the grain and fight for what you believe. You know, going against the grain, even if it's going against the grain of your best friend, going against the grain of your partner, going against the grain of your parents. But anyone doing that, trust me, I celebrate you, because that is pure courage. Having the courage to risk it all, having the courage to stand for your values, having the courage to say, no, I don't agree with that, and I'm not going to live my life that way, and I am completely detached from your opinion on that. Standing for your values in pursuit of your life and living your true life and being honest and being authentic, that's where it's at. Because when you can just be you, you'll get everything that you want. As I said, that's what Kieran said. Because you're enough. You've always been enough. And if you can just be yourself every day, authentically you, and understand that when you are, the right people will show up. The right people will love you. And the other people don't matter. Choose to be the leader of your own life. Choose to show up with authenticity. From this moment on, choose to be that leader of your own life. Be the example for your children. Be the example for other people around you, but also do it from a level of empathy, from a level of authenticity, from a level of self-love that allows genuine connection and respect from people. And moving on to finish that, because like I wrote this and I'm like, Jesus, we all struggle with this. So what would you say the biggest challenge is when it comes to, I've got enough time, yeah. What would you say the biggest challenge is when it comes to relationships? I'm really interested. Somebody comment. Somebody comment appropriately. What is the biggest challenge when it comes to relationship? Communication, it's a great one. Pete's typing something funny, I can tell by the look on his face. Ali's also considering something funny. I've lost all my notes. Communication. Okay, we're going to go for cars. I don't know what, Pete and Ali, you look like you're typing. You're on like Spectrum 48s or something, or you're writing an essay. Oh, Pete's cooking. Pete's cooking. I don't know what Ali's doing. Oh, neither of them are typing. Oh, Jesus wept. AJ's typing. No, AJ's driving. I've completely forgotten what I was talking about. Biggest challenge when it comes to relationships. I don't even know what page I'm on my iPad. Found it! Have I? No. Finding the balance between looking after yourself and looking after them. That is a great response. So, the biggest challenge when it comes to relationships, memory loss, tolerance. What a great word. Tolerance. And this is whether it's sexual relationships, partner relationships, parent-child relationships, friend relationships, boss-employee, employee-boss, client-coach, coach-client. Tolerance is the biggest challenge. And most people don't have it. That's why they're so reactive. Because most people are so scared of having their version of the world challenged that they just spend their entire life judging other people and how they think, behave, and that they see how other people think and behave, if it doesn't align with them, as threatening their credibility in the world. So if my partner doesn't agree with me, it threatens my credibility. It threatens my beliefs. It threatens my values. It threatens my versions of the world. So what I'll do is I'll react, I'll control, I'll manipulate. because it's almost a classic narcissistic trait. I need everyone to fall in line with me for me to be okay. And if not, I'm going to manipulate them and bully them until they do. That's where a lot of people live. Because they don't have tolerance. Now, we have 5 senses. I think about 3.5 of mine are currently working properly. So we process everything via sight, 100% sight, taste, 100% taste, sound, I've got about 25%, smell, I've probably got about 50%. But everything that comes in comes through those 5 senses. We process everything either through our eyes, through our ears, tasting, touching, or smelling. We literally can't experience or process anything unless it goes through one of those 5 senses. Stay with me on this one. So how many of us, just the 10 people that are on this live now, Julie, Sarah, Kerry, Ali, Jessica, Carl, Kerry, AJ, Mark, God, there's more, Carl, Jess, Ali, and Pete. Thank you for being here live. I appreciate you. How many of us all like the same food? The same music? The same perfume? The same clothes? The same holiday destination? The same man? The same woman? The same body? The same sofa? The same phone? The same car? Pretty much none of us. Some of us will. But that's what we need to understand about relationships and tolerance. 2 people can see and experience the exact same thing, the exact same event, the exact same conclusion, the exact same sofa, car, or perfume, and get a completely different conclusion and experience. Now, the question you need to ask yourself, and this is what comes down to emotional intelligence, being triggered and not. The point between being triggered and choosing whether to respond or not or be okay with it is your level of emotional intelligence. I've recommended this book so many times, but Daniel Goleman, Emotional Intelligence, is an amazing book. Is can you handle that? Especially if it's in a blood relationship or an intimate relationship with your significant other. Can you handle them having a completely different opinion to you? Can you handle them having different values? Many can't, which is why they separate. Because they need everybody to agree with them in order for them to be okay and them feel like enough. Massively happens in controlling relationships, this. Look at how people fall in. Fall in line with what the stronger person does. How many couples when one of them was never into football and then all of a sudden they're at the football every week because their partner goes? Not really their value, but it might be their value that they value supporting their partner. But it's, can you handle being okay with it? And I've very struggled with this in the past. Can you handle your partner not supporting your mission? Because if you can't, again, you're always going to struggle. If you haven't got tolerance, you're going to struggle. Tolerance is one of the biggest character traits in leaders. Because leaders understand that life isn't black and white. Leaders understand that everyone doesn't value personal development. Leaders understand that everyone doesn't appreciate certain things. And they also understand that how each and every person sees the world is just one perspective, and other people's perspective is none of your business. So to master relationships, you must master tolerance of other people, and it is hard. How often have you said, how often has someone done a certain thing, said a certain thing, behaved in a certain way, and the first thing you say is, I'm not fucking having that. I'm not having that. Followed by anger, judgment, resentment, frustration, possibly a fight, possibly an argument. Whereas really, tolerance is about just going, do you know what? I can say this internally. Like, I don't think what that person did is very cool, but I don't feel the need to challenge it. because I've got a high level of tolerance, and I'm just going to realign myself and go back after what I just said, which is me being authentically me, living my values and going after the life that I want and the life that I love and the dreams that I'm pursuing. I'm not okay with that, but it's not having my energy. That's tolerance. Not reacting, not fighting fires, not getting angry, not judging, not getting drawn into the fight. That is tolerance. And if you can master tolerance and just be willing to walk away from the situation because you have that complete detachment to the other person's opinions and actions, and whether you're okay with it or not, because that's none of your business. They're on their motorway, you're on your motorway. I think that's a big difference between winning and losing and being happy or not. Because if you feel the need to challenge someone every time you don't agree with them, you're going to spend a lot of time challenging. Now, finally, just to wrap up, because it's my favourite phrase, and I journaled it again. I journaled it because I'm just hearing this over and over again. I don't feel motivated. I don't have motivation. I need you to motivate me. Lee, I need you to get me going. Lee, I need you to do this. You've got to drop that. Okay? Because there's a big difference between motivating someone and inspiring someone. And this happens when you have an absolute certainty about who you are. You have more certainty than them. Along with connection and rapport and inspiring them. I can motivate any of you. Anyone can motivate any of you. You can motivate yourself. Come on, Pete, get off your fucking ass and get out for that walk and go for a run. Come on, I'm coming with you. Up, now. Right, come on, brilliant. Right, we've nailed it. How do you feel? Great. Right, come on, we're doing it again tomorrow. Ah, yeah, great, awesome, thanks. Anyone can motivate anyone. I can get really excited with every single one of you, and I can motivate every single one of you into action. And I have done repetitively over the years. And then when I disappear, when I stop messaging you, you retreat. You stop posting in the WhatsApp group. You stop posting in Facebook. You stop going to the gym. You stop tracking your food. You lose motivation because you were relying on someone else to have it. Anyone can get you excited to get off your ass and go to the gym 1, 2, 3, 4 times. It's probably the experience that you felt when you first joined the plan. But how long will that really last? This is why when you have inspiration, you don't need motivation. You need inspired goals, dreams that you want to work towards, missions that are that exciting and that inspiring. You don't need anyone else to agree with you. You don't need anyone else to be on your team. And you certainly don't need anyone else to kick you up the fucking arse to get you moving towards it, because you're inspired. When you're inspired, you don't need motivation. Because if I can motivate you to go to the gym, if I can motivate you to take action, if I can say to you, right, Mark, I'm going to send you a video every single day. I want you to watch it and I want you to message me after. Great, I'll do it, because you've got that accountability and that motivation. But you're putting it all on somebody else. So then 6 months down the line, when I'm not sending you the mindset video every day, when I'm not asking you if you've watched it, when I'm not asking you to send me back the fucking insights that I asked you to send me on the video 7 days ago, which you still haven't done because you'll no doubt claim that you don't have motivation. You know, when I'm not forcing you to check in, when I'm not checking your food, when I'm not getting on calls with you, what would happen? As soon as I'm not there, what happens? You wouldn't go. You wouldn't watch the mindset video. You wouldn't go to the gym. You'd take a day off. This is what happens when people leave. Go back to their old shitty standards and their old shitty peer group that want them at the football, every match of the Euros, watching the game, drinking pints, eating shit, getting hungover the next day, spending the money they claim they don't have for the positive things they have on beer, whilst claiming to have the values of health and fitness. You know, again, doing the same things with the holidays, the weekends away, the stag parties, all the things, you know, before having meltdowns and getting depressed because they've been drinking for fucking 3 or 4 weeks, pretty much non-stop. They've lost motivation, but they claim to have the values of fitness, nutrition, mindset, and positivity, that's what happens, because there's no one there to motivate them. So they go back to the old standards, the old people, the old peer group, the pub, the old behavioral habits, the old self-talk. There you go. This is when I love these trainings, when I go full circle right back to the first minute that was 53 minutes ago. They go back to their own self-talk. I'll get started after the Euros. I'll get started after the holiday. Nothing ever works for me. I always quit. I'm not good enough. I don't like counting calories. Counting calories doesn't work for me. I can't afford it. I don't have time. Straight back to the same bullshit self-talk that they told themselves before they even got started and saw progress. Because they lost motivation, and they lost motivation because they needed another person to motivate them, and then when that person wasn't there, they lost motivation. They had no inspiration, so they quit. Willpower will never win. There's a full book been written on that. So if you were inspired, you wouldn't need motivation. You wouldn't need your arse wiping. You wouldn't need texting every day. You wouldn't need to be being treated like a child, because you can't even find the energy to go to the gym unless someone literally comes round to your house and holds your hands and takes you there. I don't even respond now when people message me to get in touch. I'll send them 5 or 6 free videos that I hope might change the way they think. But as soon as a person says to me, oh, no, I don't think your plan's for me, Lee. I need a PT. I need to see someone face to face. Can you come round my house and weigh me once a week? No, can I step on the scales and weigh yourself, you lazy freaking arsehole? You what? Really? You need someone to weigh you? Are you fucking kidding me? And then I send them 10 videos on why when they've got inspiration, they don't need motivation. Why when they can leverage meaning, they won't need this. Because what a person is essentially saying, which is why I don't work with them, is they're basically saying, I need someone to hold my hand and walk me to the gym and stand there and get me to do the work and motivate me, because I've got that little inspiration, self-worth and self-value that if another person doesn't do it, I'm not going to do it. And that's what we need to find. So that's what I urge you to do. Find the inspiration. Stop putting the emphasis on other people. Find the goal that freaking makes you stiff, that makes you moist, that turns you on, that makes you happy, that makes you excited, that makes you want to dive out of bed and run towards it. Like something very motivated runs to something it really wants. Like you'd run into a house if it was on fire and your child was within it. Like Lee would run to the Spar if squashes were on sale at 50p a packet. Like Pete would run to Co-op if Pringles were having a mass sale. But again, like I'm doing now, make it fun as well. Be okay with it. Because if you were inspired and if you find that thing, you won't need motivation. The reason why you keep needing motivation is because you haven't found the inspiration, and you have to find the inspiration. And where do we find inspiration? Someone please comment. Where do we find inspiration before I break the word down? Inspiration. It stands for the spirit inside, in you. It comes from within. This is why the self-talk is so important. It doesn't say expiration, it says inspiration. Inspiration comes from within you. Inspiration is the spirit inside. Inspiration gives you the energy and the vibe and the power and the empowerment to be able to do things without needing external motivation. without needing other people, because they're doing it for themselves, because they love themselves, because they value themselves, because they understand their values, and their values align with everything they say they want to be, and then their work aligns with that, and their actions, because they have honesty and integrity, and all that's happening whilst managing to detach themselves from the good opinion of people so they can swing the bat of life, be their true authentic self, and move towards what they want. Leaders inspire people, and they inspire themselves. And the best way to do this is to show up each and every day with strong values, be who you are, not need to be like, stick to your values, have authenticity, have honesty, have integrity, and have the inspiration and the power to live life on your terms. Guys, I love you all. Stay unbreakable.